here's perhaps the most popular Padre of all time, Tony Gwynn, stepping in. Tony, already off to an excellent start, hitting .367, but then what else is new? They've already reserved his spot in Cooperstown.
He is the best hitter I ever saw.
Tony Gwynn was as pure a hitter as ever played in my era.
Tony could do almost anything with the bat that was humanly and unhumanly possible.
This guy's never stopped working, and to see that desire and that passion to be one of the greatest hitters of all time.
A man who studies films constantly to make that swing even better.
Right center field, base hitter, there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby! A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
Everyone has someone they idolize. It can be someone from the movie industry, a musician, an internet personality, or just someone in your personal life. Many people, including myself, have looked to sports for inspiration. Tony Gwynn is idolized throughout the city of San Diego, as well as in the baseball world. I would be a liar if I said that I had watched Gwynn play. I was only 1 year old when he played his final season. That doesn't mean I can't recognize his greatness in baseball and his impact for the San Diego community. With that being said, let's dive into how Tony Gwynn became Mr. Padre. Anthony Keith Gwynn was born on May 9, 1960. He had two siblings, Charles and Chris. As these three grew up, their father urged them to try baseball in a makeshift field in the family backyard. Tony's favorite sport was basketball, but that didn't stop him from watching baseball. His favorite player was Dodgers outfielder Willie Davis. When Tony checked the box scores of games in the newspaper, he wouldn't look at the home runs. He would look at batting averages, specifically players like Pete Rose, Rod Carew, and George Brett. Gwynn attended Long Beach Polytechnic High School. Through high school, Gwynn was a multi-sport athlete, playing both basketball and baseball. In his final 2 years in high school, the records of the school's baseball and basketball teams heavily contrasted, which nearly caused Gwynn to quit baseball to focus solely on basketball. His mother would talk him out of it, saying that there may be an opportunity down the road. During his senior season, Gwynn was highly sought after by colleges. He received multiple basketball scholarship offers, but no baseball scholarships. This wasn't necessarily an issue for Gwynn, as he had thought of baseball as just something to do in the spring and summer. Again, his parents urged him to continue playing both sports. He would end up choosing to attend San Diego State University. He was a star point guard for the Aztecs. In fact, he still holds season and career assist records for SDSU. He played 4 years of basketball and only 3 years of baseball. In fact, there was a slight chance that he wouldn't have had the opportunity to play on the team if it weren't for some unfortunate circumstances. Two outfielders were riding bikes when they were struck by a car, causing injuries to both players. Gwynn got his chance and he ran with it. He is the only athlete in Western Athletics Conference history to be honored as an all-conference player in 2 sports. In 1981, Gwynn would be drafted in the 3rd round and 58th overall by the San Diego Padres. While attending college, Gwynn would attend Padres games and think that they had the ugliest uniforms I've ever seen in my life, which is just wrong. But I digress. He would be drafted in the 10th round by the San Diego Clippers in the NBA. In the end, Gwynn would choose baseball. Like many players, he was initially worried about the transition from an aluminum bat to a wooden bat. Well, let's just say that worry didn't last very long. He spent only 1 full season in the minor leagues. By the end of 1981, he was hitting .462 in AA. In 1982, Gwynn had stints in both AAA and the MLB. He made his debut for the Padres on July 19, 1982. And yes, he did get his first Major League base hit in his debut game. In a 54-game stint with the big league club, Gwynn notably finished with a .289 average. Why is this notable? Tony Gwynn's rookie season was the only season throughout his career where he finished the season with less than a .300 batting average. In 1983, Gwynn once again had a stint in AAA, although it was short-lived. Before the 1983 season, Gwynn injured his wrist, and this hindered the first half to Gwynn's season. His average fell as low as .229 by July 29th, which is just something you wouldn't associate with Gwynn. So he had an idea. He asked his wife Alicia to record his at-bats so he can look at them later. This allowed him to fix his swing and end the season with a .309 batting average, as well as having a Padres record 25-game hitting streak. Gwynn would become an avid believer in video.
Man who studies films constantly to make that swing even better.
It's a 6-hit game for Gwynn.
In addition to his hard work on the field, Gwynn revolutionized the way players prepared off the field.
This was the first guy that really kind of instituted video.
When I first came up, they were calling me Captain Video. Solid front leg, heads down on the ball. Perfect.
We're now heading into the beginning of Gwynn's prime. In 1984, Gwynn would make his first All-Star game and play in his first of 2 World Series. I could explain everything he did in this super long time period, or I can try to show you in a more fun way.
Did anything to get on with the bat on the ball for a single left field. Hard, Sandberg over his head, right center field base hit. One run will score. Mona is slow getting it. Here comes Wiggins. Here comes the throw to play. He's sick. The third is Gwynn. 9-3. San Diego. Perfect play. Al Santorini looking down the right field line, moving over Gwynn, and does he make the catch? He makes the catch. What a play by Tony Gwynn.
Whenever you hear Tony Gwynn, the first thing you hear is hitting. And I just want to be remembered as a complete ball player, that's all.
There's a looping fly ball, shallow right. Tony Gwynn is there. Renicky is going to try it. Here's the throw. He's going to be out.
Way back into right center. Tony Gwynn got all that. The game is tied.
1-1 delivery. A looper into left center field. Coming off past the center fielder. Can he get it? No, it drops. Boy, Gwynn just laying one in there in front of Gerald Young. And Billy Hampshire, the shortstop, is going out. Awesome hits for Tony Gwynn.
Well, the first thing I like to do before I even get into the box is I want to get in the right frame of mind, okay? I want to believe that I'm going to be successful when I do step in that box. And that starts with you. If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in yourself as a hitter, chances are you're not going to be successful when you do get in the box.
Little investment advice. Bip Roberts, 1986 rookie card, worth about $275. 20 years from now, who knows? 1,000, 2,000, might even go.
Bip, man, you were looking at Robin Roberts. It says here your card's worth 4 cents.
Down the right field line. Gwynn on the run. He can't get it. He got it off. The benefit getting to the wall. Carter has scored. McGuire the third. The third and second is out. Great throw from the corner by the gold glover Tony Gwynn. Good coverage of the play. And there it is. He said he was going to do it, and he does.
We'll be right back to our regularly scheduled programming after these messages. All of these facts are courtesy of AJ Cassavell of MLB.com. Fact number 1. Apart from his rookie season, Gwynn batted a .300 average in every season of his career for a total of 18 straight seasons. In today's MLB, the current leader is J.D. Martinez with only 4 straight .300 average seasons. Fact number 2. On 45 separate occasions, Gwynn recorded 4 hits in a game. This is 11 more times than he recorded a multi-strikeout game. Fact number 3. In his entire 20-year career, Gwynn struck out only 434 times, for an average of 21.7 strikeouts per season. In 2019, 129 players had struck out 22 times by the end of April. Fact number 4. If Gwynn's 20-year career were split into 2 careers, 10 seasons apiece, he would rank first and second in Padres history in runs, hits, total bases, and doubles. Remember, if you have your own Tony Gwynn facts to send in, leave them down in the comments below. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So, we have gone through 1993, and you have seen some pretty great numbers, but we actually haven't even hit the most impressive stretch of Gwynn's career. It's time to talk about 1994. Throughout Gwynn's career, he was compared to Ted Williams. The ultimate goal for every great hitter is to somehow reach a .400 batting average in a season, something Ted Williams accomplished in 1941. That leads us to 1994. By the All-Star break, Gwynn had batted .383. By that point, there was talk that a strike by the Players Union was coming. In the final 28 games before the strike started, Gwynn batted .423. While many people wanted to see the season restart, in the end, Gwynn had finished the season with a .394 average. I like to say that he would have hit the magical .400 number, but I wasn't alive during that season, so I can never say that with certainty. All I know is that for a portion of that 1994 season, many people honestly believed they were going to witness history. They wanted to see Gwynn hit that magic number. I don't think many people will deny the fact that if anyone could have hit that number, it would have been Tony Gwynn. Now, let's watch the second half of his career.
I don't like to sit back and brag on my son, but he's starting to make some strides of being the kind of player I think he wants to be.
Little Gwynn
has the good genes, you know.
To the left side and through. Reed scores. Here comes Vaughn. It's a 2-run single and a 4-2 Padre lead. He lines it to left field. Brett Butler can't come up with it. The ball gets by him. Vaughn is in to score. Ricky Henderson will score. Steve Finley is heading home. Here comes Gwynn digging for the plate, trying to score. The relay throw. He is safe. Way down the right field line at the track and the road gone. Off the fencing at the bottom of the upper deck, and Tony Gwynn goes deep.
Hitting the pitch. There's a drive, right center field, base hitter, there it is! Oh, doctor! You can hang a star on that, baby! A star for the ages for Tony Gwynn, number 3,000.
RBIs, he was 2 for 3 last night, and he swings and drives Glavin's first pitch deep to right center field. Andrew Jones will not catch up with that one.
The 2-2. A line drive into left. Norton will dive. Can't get it. It's past him. 31-41 for Gwynn. Around third Crespo. He's going to try to score as Gwynn jogs into second base with an RBI double.
By the end of his career, Gwynn had quite the trophy cabinet. 8 batting titles, 7 Silver Sluggers, 5 Gold Gloves, and a 15-time All-Star. All of that while playing in only one city. He may not have brought a championship to San Diego, but he did pay a lot of generosity forward through his work in the community. In the city of San Diego, Mr. Padre is more than just a baseball player. Yes, he was a fantastic hitter, one of the best ever, and certainly the greatest in Padres history. But he represented more to the community as a whole. Throughout his career, he was loved by the fans. He made it a point to interact with them when possible. During the public memorial after Gwynn's death, fans had some stories about his generosity.
Rick Sines was a baseball coach for a team of underprivileged children. He'll never forget when he asked Gwynn for one signed ball. he signed for the whole team.
Tony stood there graciously and signed every ball and told me to make a lot of money for those kids.
Tony Castro was just 10 when he begged his mom to take him to a store where Gwynn was signing autographs. Castro was in a wheelchair with 2 broken legs.
His limo parked next to us, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "I'm here to see you." And he just got behind me, pushed my sister away, and took my wheelchair and pushed me all over the store.
After his time with the Padres, Gwynn became the head coach for the SDSU baseball team. He was the head coach for 12 seasons, leading the team to 3 Mountain West Conference championships and 3 NCAA tournament appearances. His impact on these college players was immense. But there is one particular player that flourished. That man is Steven Strasburg. Listen to how the former #1 overall pick talks about his former mentor.
As a young kid, I wanted to be just like Tony Gwynn. I wanted to be a professional baseball player. I wanted to play for the Padres.
Hit the ball to right, barrel's out front.
Tony always made an extra effort to be a role model.
Practice, practice, practice.
I remember this birthday specifically because that was the big highlight for that birthday, was getting the Tony Gwynn poster and the Tony Gwynn wristbands with his face on there. And I was decked out, you know. The impact it had on me is priceless.
Gwynn was a role model for many people during his final tenure at SDSU, and the community recognized that. In 1997, SDSU built a new baseball stadium with the donated funds from former Padres owner John Moores and his wife Becky. The stadium was named and is still named Tony Gwynn Stadium. A decade later, Gwynn would receive further acknowledgement for his work. In 2007, Tony Gwynn was elected into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot, receiving 97.6% of the votes casted. If there is any clip I think personifies Gwynn, it's this one.
Just sitting there, hoping the phone rings. And my agent is talking in the background. I can hear him saying something. It's gonna ring, you know. Matter of factly, not even, oh, it's gonna ring, don't even worry about it. So at 9:05, it rings, and I see 212. And for the first time that morning, I thought, I might make the Hall of Fame. Hello?
Hello, may I speak with Tony, please?
This is Tony.
Tony, this is Jack O'Connell with the Baseball Writers Association from New York City. How are you today?
I'm good.
Tony, I'm calling to tell you that the baseball writers have elected you to the Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
He was a humble man. Sure, during his playing career, he may have had some cocky moments, but he was a guy playing pure baseball during an era of roided out baseball players. I think he gets a pass. But most importantly, he was a family man first. Former teammate Greg Vaughn recounted a story from the Padres' 1998 championship run. His family meant everything to him. I still remember winning the pennant in '98. We were going to the World Series and everyone was going crazy and spraying champagne and drinking champagne and beer. I vividly remember looking over, the champagne is stinging in my eyes, and there's Tony with Alicia and the kids by the trainer's room. Tony wanted to spend that moment with his family, enjoying it with them. I'll never forget that as long as I live. He did everything for his family, but he also did everything with a smile. His infectious smile, along with his laugh, was notorious around the baseball world.
Tony's life is a perfect lesson on how to live it. One of the most signature things about Tony that everybody understood is that laugh.
Can you do his laugh?
I can. You got to get that hoarseness of the throat.
It started way down deep in his gut, and it worked its way up.
Yeah. I've tried. You cannot replicate it.
He may have always had a smile on his face, but unfortunately, he also had his fair share of hardships throughout his life. During his chase for history in 1994, Gwynn's father Charles passed away. Tony almost quit baseball because of this, but his father always told him to never be a quitter and to always work hard. Since Tony's minor league days in 1981, he had used chewing tobacco. Gwyn's friend Mike Howder, who helped Gwyn with his studying of video throughout his career, said that Gwyn chewed 1.5 tins of chewing tobacco a day. Howder was also addicted to nicotine, but was able to quit. He tried to get Tony to quit, but he couldn't. Howder said, in his mind, he knew he couldn't quit. He was so about routine, and chewing tobacco was too about this routine. We both pretty much knew that with the baseball schedule, we weren't going to quit. In 2010, Gwyn was diagnosed with salivary gland cancer. The operation left his face partially paralyzed on the right side, leaving him unable to smile. Here is Gwyn talking about his diagnosis.
For a tumor to grow there, other than the fact that, yeah, I used to chew tobacco and put it on the right side. They can't tell me for sure, but that's how I'm going to approach it.
The tumor was wrapped around a nerve, and after surgery, the right side of his face was partially paralyzed. So Tony Gwynn could no longer smile.
I didn't have the control of my face the way I'd like to. I couldn't control my eye, couldn't control my mouth. You don't know if you're going to be able to smile again.
During the same year, Gwyn had a slipped disc in his back, causing him to have the disc removed. In April 2014, Gwyn had experienced complications from his cancer treatments. In his final 2 months, Gwyn never made his pain known to his family. He just wanted them to be okay. He would get updates from his players at SDSU on the phone, and they would call whenever they won. Gwyn's wife, Alicia, said that you couldn't separate Tony from his players at SDSU. He loved them too much. On June 16, 2014, Tony Gwynn passed away at the early age of 54. 10 days later, a public memorial service was held at Petco Park, where over 23,000 people attended.
And let me ask one favor of you. Let me impose on you. I hope I've been here long enough to impose on you. I know I've aggravated you at times, so certainly I could impose on you. Because in all of those events that we had after 3,000 hits, and after his induction in Cooperstown, and after his induction into the Padre Hall of Fame, and all the others that I was privileged to have this microphone, and I'm honored that the Padres would ask me again to do this here today. I would like one more time, one final standing ovation before the anthem for that magnificent Padre, number 19, Tony Gwynn.
Two years later, Gwyn's family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against several tobacco companies, claiming that Tony's tobacco addiction was what led to his cancer and his death. While Tony himself did believe his addiction is what caused his cancer, it's worth noting that studies have not definitively shown any links between the cancer and chewing tobacco. Although in 2018, the Gwynn family and the tobacco companies would reach a settlement.
That's all right. That's all right. Let him hear it. Let him hear it.
Tony Gwynn will always be a prominent figure in baseball history. Despite being stuck in an era filled with steroid abuse, Gwynn emerged as quite possibly the greatest hitter of the 1980s and 90s. His skills on the diamond are what won him awards, but his personality is what brought him admiration from fans. I want to end this video with some words from legendary Dodgers announcer Vin Scully, who on the day of Gwyn's death, I think fully encapsulated who Tony Gwynn was as a person. Thank you for watching.
Tony Gwynn, the heart and soul of the San Diego Padres, and for that matter, the city of San Diego, passed away today at the early age of 54. He chewed tobacco, and they say that was a prime reason for the cancer that settled in his cheek. You could say a lot of things about Tony Gwynn, all the numbers, 8-time batting champion. Best year, he had 394. That's when people were comparing him to Ted Williams. 16 times in his 20 years, he was an all-star. And it goes on and on and on. But more than that, He was a sweetheart of the guy. He was also family. I mean, after all, his brother Chris played for the Dodgers, and his son Tony Jr. played for the Dodgers. But with all the numbers and all the plaudits given to Tony Gwynn, the thing I would remember the most, his smile. There are those who smile and get rid of it right away. There are those who smile and then it kind of drips off their face. And then there are those rare ones who will smile and it will just stay in the air and make you feel better. And that was Tony Gwynn. I used to love to tease him. We knew he was a brilliant hitter, but I would say to him, you know, Tony, I've been giving it a lot of thought. You ought to learn to bunt. And he would start laughing and his whole body would shake, tears would fill his eyes, and I would always leave him feeling a lot better than before I had met him that night. Tony Gwynn, one of the really special people, great player, but more than that, a wonderful human being. May he rest in peace.